Magandang umaga and maraming salamat to our Filipino organizers tuning in as well for making this online event happen for all of us in this room. My name is Kyra Jose, art director from Singapore-based marketing agency Superminted, and I'll be your moderator for today. It's a pleasure to meet everyone, and it's gonna be an exciting session. So I hope you guys are seated and ready, because right now, what's next in events, we have a fireside chat topic on building immersive event experiences for your dynamic audiences in the digital world. Now, because of the pandemic, right, the event industry has transformed so much, and phygital events have risen, enabling businesses to have new opportunities to create impact in the events landscape. What exactly is a phygital world, and are you ready to adapt to this new era of marketing? Now, here to answer that question and also be the star of this session, we have Deepak Lamba, Head of Global Sales and Partnerships from Hubilo, a leading online event software for managing events and experiences. Good morning,
Morning.
Deepak. How are you
Good.
doing?
I'm doing great. Good morning, Kyra. I'm in Bangalore, dialing in from Bangalore. We have like our leadership summit here soon after this particular event. We're glad to be here in Phygital. I don't think so. I heard this word 2 years ago talking about hybrid, and I think you just coined a new word for the industry. That's Phygital. That's great. That is the future, definitely. Looking forward to this session. Let's begin.
So what exactly is phygital, if you were to break it down?
Many ways. How about live streaming? So we have been living in a phygital world for a very long while. Live streaming our games, our sport is phygital, right? Now, live streaming a trade show or an event is phygital, right? That's one way to look at it. But how about doing it a bit more differently? How about creating a series of digital events that take you to a one flagship physical event, right? What I'm seeing the benefits of phygital, if I were to define in one line, it's like in order to do great things, you got to know great people, right? Now, in order for those great people to come in, you need to give them great content, hooks. That's the digital part of it. Digital events are being used, or the digital platform has been being used for sharing and delivering content. Now, once I'm hooked onto that particular content, I want to go ahead and meet the person or the people with whom I share common beliefs. So that's how the future looks like.
So that's how you see us proceeding on to the future of a phygital world. At the end of the day, when it comes to meeting people and knowing these influencers, do you need to know them at a personal level? Do you need to be able to have conversations with them, brainstorming sessions with them? Or is it enough to follow them on social media and consume the kind of content that they have?
It's never enough to follow someone on social media, to be honest. If you are not able to connect with them at a personal level, in order to connect with someone at a personal level, you need to fall in love or likeness with their ideologies, with their philosophy, with their way of life, how they are presenting. And it's always better. Now, if I want to learn something from anyone, I can start following their content. I can reach tons of content from them. I can hear to their podcast. But 15 minutes with them, quality conversation, maybe one-on-one, maybe one-to-many, would be way more impactful.
Right.
But I would not respect that. I would not be able to cherish those 15 minutes if I didn't spend enough time in knowing about them and reading about their content.
Right.
Both go hand in hand.
I think that's a really great point to bring up, actually, because when it comes to, keeping up with creative trends and demands in 2023, all of these trends and demands, they're essentially calculated predictions, right? These movers and shakers that you reach out to, they give you a more intuitive and trusted decision. It can come from their experiences. We have a more in-depth look at what they can offer to the table. Yeah, so I think that's a really, really good tip to share with everyone else. Now, moving on to the next question, let's talk about, blending physical and virtual spaces to make the future of the event world more accessible. Now, how does Hubilo help brands, create these phygital, accessible experiences with technology tools?
Consider us as we're giving you an opportunity to create your Instagram world. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn are on what huge social media networks where people come in and interact with each other. What I'm able to provide you is a similar kind of an instance, but for a targeted audience for a specific amount of time. We can call that as event apps. They provide a great solution for this. As you're able to connect with your audience even before the event goes live, you're able to share content with them. You're sharing media, content, audio, videos, things. You're also able to connect your virtual and in-person attendees as well. The connecting the attendees or the audience allows to have greater access to networking and feel like they're engaging in the same event. Right? That's one way to look at it. A couple more benefits of that is you're able to market your event much better because of the reach that digital power provides you. Consider yourself like, I will help you to market your event much better, to help you monitor your conversions from landing page to buying or registering from a ticket. I think event marketers, one of the challenges most people talk to me about is, Deepak, how do I increase the number of registrations when people are landing on the registration page, or how do I increase attendance? These are the things that are happening even before an event has taken place. How do I drive attendance to my event? That's where I help. Next part, how do I ensure that people stay for much longer in the event? How do I, during the event, what features, what things, what content, how do I create hooks? Like right now on this particular event, right now, people are glued into our session. If they find something great, if they find a great comment in the chat section, they probably would want to talk to each other in a one-on-one way, or they want to share emojis, or they want to share how it looks like, or they want to share how their emotions are. And this is how the speaker gets motivated. Post the event, you want to know how the event really well. You can do an attendee-based survey, but you also need to know about the analytics. Is this session was better than the other one? Did people stay in for much longer during the duration? So these are the entire encapsulation of putting everything in together and then getting the data points out and then knowing where did I do well, where I could do better. That's the entire picture softwares like us, especially Hubilo, is providing.
I think that's actually really amazing because, when people prepare for events, regardless of whether it's physical, digital, or Phygital, they do want to be able to anticipate anything. And with your solutions, it gives them a more detailed breakdown of what they can possibly do then and there, or in the future as well. So I think that's really, really awesome, Deepak. So I do have a question. For example, what other technology tools can the audience use to improve their experiences? Because you named event apps being one of the key tools to helping to bridge physical and digital spaces together.
Any tools, any marketing automation tool that helps you distribute your content and helps you increase the reach of your event should be used. Social media is one of the ways to look at it. But the challenge is, if you're hosting an event and you're expecting 1,000 people to show up, probably you'll have to send invites 2 months prior to the event happening to about 10,000 people to get an attendance of 1,000, depending upon if you're doing it for the first time or you're really a popular event. So any tool out there that helps you market your event better, content marketing wise, should be used. Secondly, you should have a CRM in place, and then you should be using a CRM to measure all analytics. HubSpot is one of them, pretty good tool. Marketer is there. So this entire ecosystem helps you to see the journey in one place. These are all enablers. Because at the end of the day, I have too many questions to answer, like what could I do better next time? What metrics am I measuring in order to know what I can do better next time? So marketing automation tools, event apps, and platform like ours, backed up by a strong CRM system, is kind of an ecosystem that you're looking at.
I think everyone in the audience just has a treat of what they could potentially do in the future. Now let's move on to a next question. Deepak, we want to know more about achieving a fluid user experience. So you talked about building an ecosystem that enables us to do things, right? But how do we make that fluid? What's your top advice for an event with no restraint?
Plan for every degrees. I think we will have a lot of event organizers here. Some of them taking a leaf out of their book. You have to plan for smallest and the smallest of the things. Smallest things. Like if I create a landing page, I need to know how easy or difficult it would be for the attendees to register. Are there any prerequisites? Do I need to download the app? Do I need to go ahead and check my audio and video settings? Is there a help section, FAQ section during the event? If something goes wrong, where can people go and access for support? Email follow-ups, registration for one of the smallest things that I feel is reminder email. Think about that. It's a very small thing, but let's say if you send out too many emails to everyone, if you're not blocking their calendars, if you're not sending them reminder emails, it's a very small thing. It's not about content, UI design. It's not that happening, but such a small thing, but has a major impact. It has a major impact on the internet bandwidth. Check. You need to tell people that, probably you should be in a good space with proper lighting, with good internet access, with good audio and visual, because right now, technology is playing its part right now in streaming our conversation to thousands of people. And if the audio video is not clear, they'll drop off. If the platform is buggy, they will drop off. Think from this perspective, think about every small step an attendee will take to access your event. And that is your point of discussion. That is where you need to focus and know that, what could go wrong here.
So
think from an organizer's perspective, think from an attendee perspective. And think your attendee is like a guest to your home who does not know how your home looks like.
That is an amazing way to put it. Yeah, because I was just going to say, like, from how you describe it, essentially, whoever is making this has to experience it from like an attendee's point of view. And I think like focusing on all the little details is really what makes it work. That would be the best way to anticipate mishaps or anything else that might stop you from having the greatest event that you want to have. Just now you brought up, customer support, like FAQ page. Does support for the attendees have to come in like that form? Or does a real physical person have to be behind this kind of support?
In terms of a digital event, no, it's someone that can help you. So the way that we provide support is great, right? Let's say you're working with Hubilo. We'll start working with you 3 months in advance. We'll help you co-create the event. We'll do plenty of dry runs. The reason that I came up with this code is the code that we follow in the team as well. We treat every client someone does not know how a home looks like and where to find things from. So we make it extremely easy for them to find things. We co-create the events for them. We create the FAQs. We do multiple dry runs for them. We are there during the live event day as well to ensure if anything goes berserk, something goes wrong, you will be there to fix it. The most important aspect is during the event phase. We ensure that we provide an excellent customer support.
That sounds great. Thank you, Deepak. Now let's proceed to the Q&A portion. I'm sure everyone who's watching us right now has a lot of questions for you. Let's start with the first one. What do you think is the biggest challenge in mounting an event in a Phygital format? And how can we best solve or address this?
The biggest challenge I have personally, so I organize a few events for my own community called Revenue Circuit. The biggest challenge that I still have is while virtual, as an organizer, you forget about virtual attending, unfortunately. Because imagine 100 people are standing in front of you, and versus 1,000 people are logged in. You tend to engage a lot with the physical attendee. That's a challenge. The way that I feel, the 2 ways to solve it is do a lot of digital events prior. Just digital only events before you do a Phygital events. And do share a lot of information about how the Phygital events looks like and what are the activities planned for virtual attendees and physical attendees. This way you curb the anxiety of virtual attendees because they know that, I have attended about 5 webinars leading up to this flagship event. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. There was an opportunity to make it. Like invite more and push more people for the physical part of it because you have already put in a lot of effort in the digital part of it. Push more people to the physical part of it. And the people who are not able to make it, don't make them feel left out. How can you do that? Ensure there are enough polls and QAs in the section. Bring them on the screen. Use rooms. Do an activity where the physical and the virtual attendees are combined together, right? Use the leaderboard feature that Hubilo has in running some contests, some surveys. So these are some good features to have to solve this particular problem. Another thing that I feel is when you're there, when the sessions are happening in a physical ecosystem, it's a small tip. Do acknowledge the virtual attendees. Acknowledge their presence. Just by mere acknowledging their presence, you will feel that there is a positive impact on the outcome.
Okay, that sounds great. So if we were to wrap up everything, it's basically don't focus on just the physical one-day event. You have to focus on your pre-event measures too. So that involves more of the digital audiences. I think that is one thing that people tend to miss out on. Like everything has to drive back to the main event and the before and after tends to get left behind. Yeah, so I think that's a good thing to remember when keeping in mind for planning for all of these events. Now, okay, we have a new question. So how can event organizers design Phygital experiences that are engaging and memorable for both physical and virtual attendees? And what strategies can be used to increase attendee participation?
So there are 2 answers to these questions. Scenario 1, are you trying to live stream your flagship event or a physical event to your virtual attendees? It's a different scenario altogether. Or are you creating a series of small webinars, smaller events, and building the audience towards the driving attendance towards a physical event? I like the latter part because it gives you so much intel and so much information. That's a strategy, by the way. That's the strategy for doing what I feel a successful Phygital, because you're building momentum towards your showstopper event, your showstopper moment. And when you're building it, you are also catching the pulse of the people because you're giving them small nuggets of information. This is how it's going to look like. This is one of the topics that we're going to discuss about. This is how the venue is going to look like. This is what we're going to do in the digital events. This is how the agenda looks like. So you're building momentum, interest towards the physical event. And that is, I think, is one of the strongest strategies that I have seen and I personally recommend to do. What can be used to increase attendee participation? Attendee participation, to be honest, it's about the agenda. That it's always about the topic. It's about what jeans is in fashion, what color is in fashion, what sneakers are in fashion. The thing that is in fashion is because you're able to check or forecast on the pulse of the audience that you're targeting. That's why social media influencers, they're reading people. It's all about reading human behavior at that point in time. It's not about tech stuff. It's about, if I'm picking up a topic, if I'm an event organizer in the financial world, what topic is important to me? Do I talk about macroeconomics? Do I talk about startup world? Which topic will catch the most eyes? Like in our revenue world right now, the question is, how do we attain quotas? How do we do better in forecasting? Sales is a huge world. In marketing, it's about how can we do better in SEOs? How can we, do a better freemium to a paid model? So picking the right topic, agenda, is the key here. Then marketing it well, ensuring that your systems are in place, your process and your systems are airtight, that I have chosen the right topic. I'm going to ensure that I have a right cadence for reaching out to people, getting on their calendar, sending them reminder emails, connecting with them. My content should connect with their problems and their needs, because at the end of the day, what I'm asking from them is valuable time. So you need to look at a business relation. I'm asking someone to spend 30 minutes. What am I giving back? A memory, a data point, a learning, something that they will remember, something that's going to not really, really change their lives. That's a too big thing to say, but will it mean something to them? So that's what we need to look at. There are enough systems and processes in the world. Again, my favorite strategy is build a series of digital events that drive attendance towards your physical event. That's the best thing to do.
So just now you were talking about hooks, right? About having the right topic to hook the audience in. And usually it comes with whatever is trending at the moment. Can you tell us a bit more about your personal predictions? Like what do you think are some upcoming trends or topics for 2023 that people can look at?
The trends that people should watch out for, there'll be a lot of engagement happening. What I'm observing right now is people want to talk to the speakers, which they were not able to do in the physical world, right? It was very difficult. A speaker came in, delivered the session and went out. So people want to engage with the speakers a lot more. People are having a lot of discussion outside of the event format. I connected here. I saw you were speaking at a certain event. I want to know more about certain problems that I'm looking to solve. Engagement post the event will happen in a digital world a lot more. In a physical world, it was much lesser because people were exhausted because they traveled, attended, networked, partied, went home. It was difficult, but people will network a lot more, engage a lot more in the digital aspect. And this will have an impact in increasing the networking capabilities and outcomes in a physical world as well.
So when we talk about engagement, apart from engagement being like in terms of whether you create content that's interesting enough to engage them, or whether you have the tools where they can respond to you and engage you in that way, which do you think is more important, or are they both equally the same?
They're equally the same, to be honest. I don't find a lot of difference in them. The reason being, see, what most people are looking out there is, if I were to not look at the formats over here, if I have to think about what will I get if I spend X amount of time, is the currency that people are using to decide which thing out of the two is better. Now, if you look at it, we live in a world where we want to travel for leisure. We don't want to travel for work.
For sure.
So that's the thing, right? Like how do you want to spend your time is something people are more focused at. There's just too many options out there for everyone in terms of events, amounts of content, amounts of things. There's just too many there. That means I don't have enough time to attend everything. That means time is a currency that I will be spending, and I need to know what will I get. Then the person can utilize both in a best way, both in the best way, right? And make a shitload of an impact.
Deepak, thank you so much for your questions. Very great insights from you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you so much, Kyra, for having me. It was a pleasure. It was an interesting topic. Thank you and all the best.
Amazing.